Not caring about what other people think is an art form. It's not just a mantra, it's a work of art. Because if you do care what other people think, let me ask you, what has it gotten you? See, I had to ask myself these questions. I had to constantly ask myself, what was I getting other than an added sense of anxiety, societal expectations I didn't ask for, stress that never seemed to be resolved, an attention that was never directed at myself but always directed at other people. It's not as though there's nothing to be gained from caring about the opinions of others, but it's the way that we choose to engage in this behavior that really kills us. Everything is just so artificial. You're so focused on how something looks, but not how something is. And I just said to myself, I'm not going to do that anymore. And ever since I did that, my life has only gotten better. Why? Because now the attention is being funneled where it's supposed to go. And I know it's not an instant thing. A lot of people wish that they could just flip the switch. Like, I wish I could just flip the switch and I stop caring what such and such thinks about me. I wish I could just flip the switch and all of a sudden I'm free. But that's just not how life works. It's a progression that you have to work within. But for me, what I found to be easy was thinking about all the times that I did care and it didn't amount to anything. All the times that I was worried about the opinions of others and it held me back. And that was the motivation I needed to confront the fact that caring about what other people think is always going to hold you back. It's always the people who go for what they want, no matter the cost, no matter how they're perceived, that end up getting everything. And I always wondered why, because it wasn't a morality thing. It was a behavioral thing. These behaviors tend to be rewarded in society more. Why? Why does the person who can, quote unquote, be a jerk, why do they tend to get everything that they want? Well, it's because the jerk does not care about how he is perceived. That is, in fact, why he is often perceived as the jerk. When in reality, he's just a person who isn't putting too much stock into the opinions of others. But that gives him the edge. That gives him the advantage because he is not shackled to the public opinion. You see, one of the biggest fears, and a lot of people aren't aware of this, but one of the biggest fears that people have in general is literally fear of criticism. Isn't that crazy? Out of all the things in this life that could kill you and ruin your life, we're talking hurricanes, tornadoes, we're talking about earthquakes, shoot, the sun exploding. People are afraid of the fear of criticism. That says a lot about human nature. So if you can overcome this primal fear of criticism, you have such a monumental edge over everyone else. I realized I didn't have to be a superhero to get to my goals. I just had to stop seeing myself as someone who cared about what other people thought of them. If I cared, then again, you're surrendering your power. A lot of you guys want to do things in your life it's going to be a big change, and you go to others for their opinions on it and they derail you every time. And regardless of the reasons of why that is, you have to take the accountability in the fact that you need to be strong enough to go after what you want in spite of the opinion of other people. And it is a skill. I'm not saying this like it's not a skill. It's a skill, but as long as you're aware of it, it can be cultivated, right? Like, dude, so many times in my life, I deferred to the people around me and I was like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I'm getting all this feedback, right? But there's nothing in my own head to where I can say, but what do I think about it? What do I think about what I'm doing? It was always about someone else, man. And the society has a sly way of making you put your attention towards other people. Since you were a kid, the historical figures you learn about are always, you learn about this person, you're learning about that person. Your attention is always directed towards another person as if you're a spectator in your own life. So once I realized that I can't be a spectator in my own life, I realized that I have to actually be a main character. Your life is going to keep going regardless, but if you are on the sidelines as a spectator, you're never going to get what you want to get done. Your life is going to go by. You might have superficial achievements, but you never did what you actually wanted to do. You were living for the approval of other people. And then once your life goes by, you don't have a midlife crisis. Your spirit just knows that you've been a fraud this entire time. I realize things like midlife crises, all those that doesn't exist. You're just living a fake form of life for so long, you can no longer deny it. And I said to myself, I was like, wow, crazy. That's not going to be me. And it takes a lot of conviction. I mean, we're not going to sit here and act as if the opinions of other people cannot discourage you. They cannot derail you. They absolutely can. But this is why you have to break that shackle. It is a powerful force, but it's not stronger than you. See, the internal power you have within yourself can overcome everything in your life. And it sounds very cheesy. It sounds like I'm giving you guys some sort of fairy tale. I promise you I'm not. I don't take time out of my day to come outside, to set up my camera, to look in the camera and tell you guys a whole bunch of nonsense. I don't do that. That's not me. What I do instead is I say, okay, what is something I can give you guys that has value, that has actual weight and truth to it? And when I tell you your life will improve dramatically when you stop caring about the opinions of others, I cannot put into words how true that is. Look, everyone watching this video needs to understand, you cannot allow, because you're limiting yourself. It's not necessarily that these other people are limiting you. It's that you're allowing them to limit you. When in reality, people's opinions are constantly changing. And this is something I had to realize. Someone feels some way about me one day, I do something else, and they feel a completely different way about me the next day. So what did I learn from that? I learned that, why am I attaching myself to something that is constantly changing and maneuvering? Think about all the people, they only feel good when it's a certain type of weather outside. When it's crappy, it's raining, it's snowing, they can't feel good, but when it's sunny, they feel amazing. When you attach your happiness to things that are constantly changing, it becomes very hard to become happy. And I realize how hard it is to become happy when you're focused on all the external things, the opinions of other people. You need this specific thing, you need this specific form of validation. How are you going to ever be happy? It's just not going to happen. So, guys, everyone has a different form of motivation, but I think we are all connected in the sense that we have seen throughout our lives, putting too much stock in how other people think about us has never truly benefited us. It benefits you to know how to present yourself, true. It benefits you to know the public sentiment when it comes to certain things, true. But when it comes to the more personal details of your life, the endeavors that you want to embark on, the things you want to do, the legacy you want to leave, it rarely benefits you to care about the changing opinions of everyone around you. Because I'll tell you something, when you start out on your journey and you do bold action, you're going to be criticized, you're going to be looked at like you're crazy. As you start to succeed, as you start to grow, that public opinion shifts and changes, and now all of a sudden you're the GOAT. Oh, you're so amazing, you're so this. You didn't change. It's the people around you that changed. And that taught me the lesson of, the problem is me caring in the first place. If you are so attached to something that if you don't get that validation, you feel lacking. You always need a permission slip. You always need a pat on the back from from your acquaintances and your close friends to feel like you're doing something in this life, you lost the plot. You are the ultimate pat on the back to yourself. And for me, man, I've gotten external validation. I've gotten internal validation. Nothing beats internal validation that you get from yourself. Nothing beats it. I've gotten every form of validation in my life. How you feel about yourself is always the end all be all, because you are yourself at the end of the day. The same way I'm myself, whoever's watching this video, you are you. You know how you feel. You know who you are. So the ultimate person who can validate you is always going to be your own self. I don't care what this world is doing. I don't care what other people are doing. I don't care what other people think. Let them live their lives the way they want to live them. But you need to understand that the only person who's going to say at the end of the day, dang, I feel like I'm living a good life, is yourself. You can't go to other people and always expect them to tell you something that you really want to tell yourself. A lot of the times we go to other people for their opinions because we are hoping to hear something that we want to hear. When in reality, you just need to say it to yourself. You're not really looking to them for their opinion. You're looking to them so that they can confirm something that you actually want to hear about yourself. So in a sense, you can see how it always comes back to you. So let's just start there. Let's just make that our starting point. And that's my starting point now. The art of not caring is a beautiful thing, because once you master this art, what can stop you? Because a lot of the barriers in this life are barriers that we create for ourselves. They're invisible barriers that we mentally trap ourselves in. And it's usually the most logical of us who do this. The quote unquote smartest of us. We're so smart that we create added obstacles, as if it's not already hard enough to make it in this life. We're going to create more obstacles that we got to run through instead of just being resolute and strong within ourselves. Well, not anymore, man. It's Dipsy. With enough hard work, determination, and belief in oneself, anyone is capable of becoming a true champion. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got some value from it. I'll catch you guys later, man, and peace out.